Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Hope everybody's doing well today. Really nice day again out here in Maine. It was actually in the low 70s. It was warm enough people were back in shorts again. Smoke. And so the sun was out and everything. Kids were playing. Seen so many friggin' motorized skateboards. Kids today, Christ, they got everything. You know what? Wish I'd have had something like that when I was a kid. Anyway, I got a video here I want to play. It's about 15 minutes long, I guess. And it's kind of a late, because this happened like Thursday last, and it was in Wisconsin at a rally. But, you know, it seems to be something that people are still yakking about even now, so I thought maybe I should just chip in on this thing. So let's go to the video, and then I'll catch you on the other side.
Because ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. For freedom. Like the fundamental freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. And again, we're not going to be gaslighted on this. We remember Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
Moment we brought to you yesterday. Today, we'd like to bring in those students who yelled that out to Kamala Harris. They're 2 pro-life students at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, both juniors. Luke Pulaski and Grant Beth join us now. Luke, Grant, thanks for being with us this morning. Luke, I'll start with you. Just take us into that moment. What happened yesterday? We see the video clip. Is there anything more you can tell us about what you guys had to say and what happened afterwards from that video?
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here. I would say the first thing I want to bring up, this is our first time taking an interview with anybody, and I think it's important because this is our raw, untold story. There's a lot that happened off camera that we said at the protest, while we were protesting. And I guess we could start off with after she talked about overturning Roe v. Wade and Donald Trump, I yelled out to the crowd that abortion is the sacrament of Satan. And when I said that, I deeply do believe that as a Christian. And about 10 seconds go by, and that's when the video of my friend Grant and I proclaiming that Christ is Lord and Jesus is King when we said that. And I think it's important to say this is a small venue, and we were about 20 to 30 yards away from Kamala at this point. There's a lot of controversy that says she wasn't talking to us or we left, we didn't get kicked out. Well, I can speak on Grant and I's behalf. On video, Grant's getting pushed and shoved. And there's about 5 seconds after or before she tells us to go to the smaller rally down the street. You can see on the video she waves. She was actually waving to me. I took this cross off my neck that I wear. And as we were getting asked to leave, I held it up in the air and waved at her and pointed to her. And she looked directly in the eye, kind of gave me an evil smirk. And I just want to clear that up and confirm that she 100% was talking to us. Mm-hmm. And there's other controversy that says we left. We were getting shouted at, pushed, assaulted, screamed at. So we were walking away. But there was about 3 attendees there, volunteers, that kicked us out with badges or whatever they had. And I specifically remember this one man saying, "You were uninvited and unwelcome to this event. You need to leave." And all they did was walk us out the door. They didn't tell us why. No cops escorted us out. No Secret Service. And that's our story.
So where was this event held exactly?
This was held in our University of La Crosse's gym. So
did you pay tuition to go to the university?
I do pay tuition to go to the school, but this was a free event. This is in a really small venue. They only said there was about 2,500 people there, which when she told us to go to a smaller rally down the street, I didn't really think that for a political rally there could be smaller than 2,500 people.
But you were allowed to be there. You paid to be there.
Yes,
basically.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Grant, I want to get your point of view from there. So is there anything you want to add to Luke's story? And what did it feel like? I mean, she basically said, you said, or Grant said something about, or Luke said something about Jesus, right? Jesus is King. Jesus is Lord. And she said, "You're not welcome here." I mean, I want to know what you felt in that moment and if there's anything you want to add to his story.
First of all, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Charlie, for having us. We were very blessed to be here. We were very blessed to speak on the national stage. It's important that we get our message out in any way possible. First of all, we didn't really intend on, going at any people. People online were calling us MAGA fascist. That was never our intention going to this rally. We were only here to protest our faith, and we did so. We never expected this to grow as large as it was. Essentially, she was speaking, and we decided to say, "Christ is King, Jesus is Lord." And we got a lot of backlash. As you can see in that firsthand video, I was pushed by an elderly woman. We were heckled at, we were cursed at, we were mocked. And that's the biggest thing for me personally. In reflection of the event, Jesus was mocked, his disciples were mocked, and that's okay. In reality, we did God's work, and we were there for the right reasons, and God is watching us in this moment. I'm all about being a cordial person, no matter your beliefs, but I do believe that we were sent there by God, and I do believe this timing, 18 days before the election, is imperative for young Americans and first-time voters like myself to understand that this is what you are going to get with a Kamala Harris presidency. You are going to get the Kamala Harris that alienates over 50% of the U.S. population that is Christian. You're going to get the Kamala Harris that skips the Al Smith memorial dinner that no major presidential candidate has skipped since, I believe, Walter Mondale in 1984. Now over 40 years ago. I'm a 20-year-old man. That's double my life. So that's a long time for someone not to attend that event. That, along with our experience on this day, it's a good storm for the opposition. And it just proves what type of person Kamala is and what type of leader she will be.
I'd love to ask you this question out of my own curiosity. Luke, I'll put it to you. And I know it's a difficult question because I'm asking you to put yourself in the mind or experience of someone else, meaning that person could be Kamala Harris. But when she responded that way to you, you and Grant, I'm curious what she understood about you. Like, what had you made clear? That you were a protester, that you were pro-life? We all hear you say, Christ is King, Jesus is Lord. Did she understand your message? I want to know specifically what she is rejecting. I know you can't know because you weren't in her mind, but you can know, what did you make clear?
Yeah, so I said Jesus is Lord due to the abortion Roe v. Wade she was talking about, which me and many Christians around the world disagree with her stance on abortion. And we wanted to kind of send in a message that, you know, as Christians, at least me and Grant, we don't accept or agree with her abortion policies, and that we believe that Jesus is Lord and that he has the final say in everything we do. And it's something we center our life around. So I guess we wanted her to know that.
Right.
Luke, Grant, I think you guys are two really brave boys. They don't call it the People's Republic of Madison for nothing. You guys went right into the lion's den, and you are brave and courteous, as I can see right here. And I just really admire you, and I just want you to know that I think your message is resonating.
And very wise young men. And you'll never get an apology from the Kamala Harris campaign, but I hope you get an apology from the university, because you had every right to be there.
Thank you, guys.
Charlie, if I could say something before
Sure.
we go here. You know, this is extremely important for young Americans to understand. You know, if I could ask my young Americans in this country, what do you want your future to look like in this country? Do you want to have to struggle to pay for gas? Do you want to have to struggle to afford groceries on a daily basis? Do you want to even struggle to get your first mortgage on a house? Because that is the future you're going to get with Kamala Harris as president of the United States. A future with no morals, a future where people are exposed to evil on a daily basis. And, you know, people are stripped of the very power they have as citizens of the United States. I implore first-time voters, make an educated choice, whether that be voting early, whether that be going, you know, on day of the election. The future of this very country.
You guys need to run for office, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your story. We're up against.
Okay, well, these two fellows were obviously perturbed by Kamala exposing them at the rally. Why they wanted to be there and felt like their voices were going to change minds, I don't know. Okay, they claim they were there doing God's work. Really? Like, okay. So, in other words, your God wants teen girls to give birth to their raped, children and stuff like that. That's what he wants. Okay, your God wants women to die at childbirth. You know, your God wants the government to, get involved in women's bodies. I mean, your God sounds like a control freak, if you don't mind me saying, okay? Because that's not the God that I grew up learning about, okay? But, there's so many interpretations of the pie in the sky by Christians that who knows what they really mean, okay? The funny thing is after he got done saying all that, he jumps right into the political thing about, gas and groceries and mortgages and stuff. Okay, so all of that's God's work too, I guess, right? So in other words, these guys were there for the political attention. Okay, regardless of why they were saying on Fox News why they were there, it was all an attempt to try to, crash a party. That's what they were there to do. No, nothing so, lofty as trying to do God's work. That's just an excuse to make themselves sound better than what they were doing, okay? They were just a bunch of kids going to a fucking rally just to shit on it, because Kamala was there. And then what is this? First he says it was a free rally, and then the Fox News host says, oh, so you paid to go there, and then he goes, oh yeah, like, you know, it's like, well, which was it? Did you pay to go to this thing, or was it free? You know, so, you know, the guy couldn't even get a story straight. He's, you know, and then the idea that he says that abortion is a sacrament of Satan. So, in other words, you know, in your school of Christianity, you guys talk about Satan as well, you know, and what he does. So, why would Christians want to know anything about Satan? And why would you trust anybody who is a Christian to tell you anything about Satan, as if it's, you know, if it's true or not? Now, there's a lot of argument out there that says there is no Satan. Okay, a lot of Christians say he doesn't exist. It's just God and nobody else. Okay, Satan is just a metaphor for the bad things people do, and we just try to excuse it by saying, well, they were possessed, or they were this, or they were that, and it's all from Satan. Okay, so, you know, these clowns going on Fox crying their crocodile tears about how Harris embarrassed them in front of, you know, hundreds and hundreds of people and stuff. I mean, come on, you know, you guys. We're 2 weeks outside of a fucking election. You jump under the fire from the frying pan, you're gonna get burned. Okay, you willingly went in there expecting that was gonna happen, and when it happens, you go run into Fox News, okay, and you stand there, and you paint this picture of yourself as being the poor little victims, and Kamala is such the Antichrist. Okay, go cry somewhere else. No one's listening to you. Okay. If there's any Antichrist that's running for president right now, it's that son of a bitch and orange Hitler that you guys are all backing. And when you back somebody like that, your credibility as a Christian goes out the fucking window. All right? So don't come to me about that. You know, and then you got, you know, some people calling MAGA is the party of Jesus. You see, that's the evangelical core of MAGA. That's the magnet that draws all the stupidity and all the ignorant people to it. Okay, because religions can't thrive on people that are educated. You know that, don't you? People that are well educated would understand a lot better what's going on in church or in whatever thing it is than people that aren't. Okay, that's why you've got these big mega churches. Does anyone know how many mega churches helped the problem, the damage down in Florida and Alabama, all those areas that got hit by the hurricane? Anybody? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, all that money that they got, and yet, you know, you don't hear about any of them doing anything for these people in these mega churches. So, you know, what does that say about their Christianity when they can't respond to when people are in need? You know, you got what, about 40 mega churches as far as the last time I read something, and there's like 40 of these things in the state of Alabama. And I read in a news article that an Indian casino stepped up and offered to pay for all the tornado victims' funerals. A casino. You know, that really hit me odd, because like I was saying, you know, you got all these churches with all that money, and when people are in need, they're not there. They just ain't there. You know, I don't know. Prove me wrong. Somebody show me some fucking evidence that these churches are helping people, these victims down there, okay? And they're not just sitting on their ass, sitting on their piles of fucking money, taking from people who are living paycheck to paycheck. Taking from these folks, the very people that they should be helping, they're taking money from these people. And, you know, there are stories of some of these churches calling up folks that haven't been attending, you know, and saying, hey, you know, you need to start giving some money. They actually go after people in their own parishes or something if they ain't paying their weekly dues or whatever the hell you want to call it, if they're not contributing. People living paycheck to paycheck, and they go after. okay? But that's what these places do. That's why, you know, when I hear about the people like these two fuckers here who went to that rally in Wisconsin, okay, at the University of whatever the hell it was there, okay, and they're sitting there crying because they were trying to disrupt the fucking rally and get Kamala's attention, and they succeeded in doing that. And then she tells them, you know, you guys are at the wrong rally. You need to go to the smaller one down the road, and everybody laughs. They deserved it. They asked for it. And because they felt like, oh, she's making fun of us, they get all offended, and then they're asked to leave because, hey, if you're going to be here to start a fight, we don't want you here. Okay? They had every right to escort those people out. You can stay there and listen if you want. But if you're going to start screaming over Kamala Harris and trying to disrupt things, okay, that's not, you know, that's not allowed. Okay? That's not allowed. The same thing would happen if a Democrat went to one of Trump's rallies and started shouting at him. Okay? They would escort them out of their fucking rally. Same goddamn thing. Oh, but because Kamala did it, she's the Antichrist. Okay? No, when these freakazoids here come out of the woodwork and they start in with their God's work crap and all this crap, this stuff, okay, you know, you're just trying to get attention. That's all it is. Getting on Fox News and telling your little story and changing it as you're telling it, that's just your way of getting attention. Nobody cares, okay, what happened to you little fellas out there. You shouldn't have been there if you were only there to start trouble, and that's why you were there. You thought that was going to earn you some brownie points with the church you're a member of, okay? That's what you thought. Maybe it did, and maybe that makes your day, okay? And good for you for that. But next time, choose your venues wisely, okay? Because if you're going to these places and you're expecting that people are going to give you the floor, no, ain't gonna happen. All right, I'm sorry. But you got your 15 minutes of fame, and I don't know why everybody is still talking about it. Maybe it's because, you know, they think it's so funny that these two guys are running around to different places and, you know, crying about what happened, okay? But, you know, nobody's looking at you seriously, okay? We see you for what you are. You're just kids, and you think you're something and you're not. I met a lot of you folks like that when I was in the Air Force, okay? There was a lot of young people in there that because they walked around with a Bible, they thought, you know, they had every right in the world to tell you how to live your life. I told a lot of those fuckers where to go in a hot minute, I'll tell you. Okay? You can't tell me that. Okay? You ain't got hair one between your legs and you're going to sit there and tell me where the bear shits in the woods, okay? That's really smart of you people there. Keep it up, and one day someone's going to plow you right in the jaw there to shut you up. Maybe then you'll listen, you know, and stop poking your nose in other people's business. So, anyway, let's go to the commercial break. We'll be right back.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
He's too old. He's out of touch, losing his marbles at an alarming rate.
They have sinks where no water comes out.
You turn it on, the water comes out. You want to wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen this, and you turn on the sink, and it's very little.
I do want to remind everybody, this is the guy that worked with the former Klansman.
I will be Donald Trump's most loyal advocate to make sure his nominees go to the Supreme Court.
Full of his struggles and ramblings and rantings and mumbling and bumbling and stumbling. You decide. Take a look.
They've deliberately surrendered our border to vicious coyotes and drug smugglers. I mean, these the smuggler. A smuggler!
I find it awkward. I find it embarrassing. He's really in the early stages of some kind of senile dementia.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings.
It's more than awkward and embarrassing. It's actually dangerous. Having someone with his mental state, to me, is terrifying.
She speaks in rhyme.
In rhyme? What do you?
Well, the way she talks, the bus will go here and then the bus will go there because that's what buses do. It's weird.
He can't finish a sentence.
Anonymous, really anonymous.
The man doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't know where the exit is. He's not sure how to get through his speech.
Mr. President, you need to sign it.
Old, outdated, retire, elderly, aging, senile, dementia, slow, confused, idiot, ignorant, sleepy, gaff, bumbling, bad, terrible, disappointing, joke, profanity.
Being corrupt is bad. Being corrupt and senile is even worse.
What will you tell your kids? That you voted for a felon and a criminal, supported a man found guilty by a citizen jury, went into the voting booth happy to pull the lever for the only former president in history to bear the mark of criminal shame. Will you tell them that breaking the law is how they should live their lives? That lying to their families about porn stars and hush money is how they should behave? Do you want your son to treat women like a man who was found to have committed sexual assault? Do you want your daughter to be a victim of a man like him?
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it? And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Whatever you want. Grab them by the...
Will you tell them that he was honest, that he was a good man?
Very fine people on both sides.
That he treated people the way you've taught them?
Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Will you tell them you're proud of his cruelty? Happy with the ugly insults?
I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers.
The attacks on women and the endless lies that the chaos, death, and danger he brought was worth it. We know it's hard to walk away and put country over party, but your kids are watching. You're not just voting for your future, you're voting for theirs.
Welcome to the Trump 2024 convention, brought to you by Project 2025. This week in the horrible city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you'll see the best of the Trump Project 2025 party. It's a bold vision for a bright future. With Trump Project 2025, you'll love how new tariffs will make everything more expensive and set off runaway inflation. We know you'll appreciate paying for the big tax cut our struggling billionaires need. When you seniors are done freeloading, check out Project 2025's plan to end Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So get out of that nursing home bed and get back to work. And ladies, this convention has so much in store for you. With Project 2025, you'll learn how good you'll have it in the kitchen. Girls, if your marriage isn't working out, you'll need Project 2025's helpful tips to keep the romance alive, even if he's abusive, because we're getting rid of divorce. And if Mr. Wrong gets you pregnant, welcome to motherhood, because we've ended Roe v. Wade and we're going to criminalize birth control. And minorities, well, you didn't need those silly voting rights anyway. For you Jews, Muslims, Mormons, and other fake religions, you'll get a head start on learning America is a Christian nation. Project 2025 is Donald Trump's plan for your future, and it couldn't be any brighter.
Project 2025 Bright Future Guarantee applies to white evangelical Christian men only. Other conditions may apply. Offer not valid in a functioning republic.
America's national security, a president's first job, to protect our nation from all enemies, foreign and domestic. In a dangerous world, Kamala Harris has sworn to do just that. her commitment is clear.
I will never waver in defense of America's security and ideals, because in the enduring struggle between democracy and tyranny, I know where I stand and I know where the United States belongs. I will ensure America always has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world.
And to uphold America's solemn promise to honor our veterans.
And I will fulfill our sacred obligation to care for our troops and their families, and I will always honor and never disparage their service and their sacrifice.
Kamala Harris for president, for a stronger, safer America. Vladimir Putin is a dictator, a war criminal, a murderer responsible for slaughtering thousands of Ukrainian civilians and causing death and destruction around the world. He's silenced dissent in his country, erased people from history, poisoned journalists, and imprisoned opponents. Every American president from Harry Truman to Barack Obama and Joe Biden have stood up against Soviet and Russian dictators. Every American president except one.
I think Putin's been a very strong leader for Russia. I think in terms of leadership, he's getting an A.
As president, Donald Trump shared our vital security secrets with Russia. Even after leaving office, Trump, sitting in Mar-a-Lago with stolen American intelligence files, had long, secret calls with Putin. What are they talking about? What is he giving Putin? What secrets has he shared? What has he promised the Russian dictator?
Do you have a relationship with Vladimir Putin, a conversational relationship?
I do have a relationship.
Trump puts Russia first, not America. He's not just wrong, he's dangerous. Donald Trump won't stand up to Vladimir Putin, so it's up to all of us to stand up to Donald Trump.
People come in, they're very sick, very sick. They're coming into our country. They're very, very, very sick with highly contagious disease, and they're let into our country to infect our country, and they're coming in at numbers that nobody's ever seen before.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. All right, speaking of the Orange Hitler, I don't know how many of you people are aware of this, but Donald Trump tried to bullshit people, which is something he does all the time, right? He tried to stage an elaborate McDonald's photo op, okay? And it didn't take long. It was almost like the day after he had done this, everybody started breaking the news on what went on, because there were people there taking pictures, videos, and stuff like that. And what these videos and pictures showed is that McDonald's that he supposedly was working at was actually closed that day. Okay, it was closed because the manager of that restaurant volunteered his McDonald's to Trump to stage a make-believe day of work at McDonald's. And he was there with his apron, and then he was making, delivering food to people who were pretending to be customers, okay? These were people that they knew would not heckle him or something when they drive up the window or something like that. It had to be a controlled event, so that way it looked positive for Trump. So that means they had to control everything from who was working there that day with him, okay, to who was driving up the window. Okay, so they already pre-selected people to go up to the window and with civility and no insults hurled, you know, get food. So this is an article here from Daily Kos written by Oliver Willis. Talks about that. And here's Trump here, the picture of Trump at the drive-through window there. Donald Trump pretended to be working at a McDonald's location closed to the public and stocked with his supporters on Sunday. The staged event at the restaurant in Festerville, Pennsylvania, was part of the long-time conspiracy theorists' promotion of another evidence-free attack on Vice President Kamala Harris. Because remember, she said that she worked at a McDonald's. Well, he was trying to say, I worked at one longer than you did. Okay, the public could not access the restaurant during Trump's visit, and the people who Trump handed food orders to were his supporters who were pre-screened, okay, by the Secret Service and put in place before Trump arrived. The supporters were not allowed to make food orders as they would during the normal course of business, but were instead handed packages that Trump gave to them. A Reddit forum member posted a photo of a letter purportedly written by the owner of the McDonald's franchise, DG Torresdale LLC, that was posted on the front door. It read, quote, "We plan to be closed on Sunday, October 20, until 4 p.m. to accommodate a visit at the request of former President Trump and his campaign," unquote. The Republican National Committee rushed to cash in on the moment and is now selling T-shirts with Trump dressed up in his McDonald's apron with the phrase "MAGA Donald's." My God. The staged event was meant to further Trump's conspiracy theory that Harris didn't work at McDonald's in her youth. She has often discussed her time working at the restaurant as her motivation for backing policies that help working families. The McDonald's conspiracy, okay, wait, before I go further, how does that, you know, counter what she said? By himself being at McDonald's working, that's not proving that she didn't work at a McDonald's. That's only showing that he's working at a McDonald's, right? So how does that, you know, he's not showing any evidence at all to suggest that she lied about that, okay? I don't, the way he thinks is, in that campaign, Jesus Christ. The McDonald's conspiracy is the latest in a succession of false stories that Trump has promoted during his time as a public figure. He was the most prominent backer of the racist birther conspiracy against former President Barack Obama, and he has falsely claimed that climate change science was a hoax created by the Chinese government. Trump's allies at Fox News Channel furthered the conspiracy on Monday during a report on the staged event on Fox and Friends. Quote, "There's just no record of her being there or not being there." Reporter Peter Ducey said, quote, "To our knowledge, there's no photo of her in the McDonald's apron," which now there is a photo of Donald Trump in the McDonald's. Well, at the time, she didn't know she was going to be where she is today. Who would think to go, if I was going to start working somewhere, I'd want, okay, make sure you take a picture of me in my apron while I'm working here at McDonald's, because who knows, 20 years from now, I might need that photo to prove that I worked here. Who the hell does that? Jesus Christ. While he stood up at the drive-through window, Trump was asked by reporters if he supported raising the federal minimum wage, a policy that would significantly improve the lives of thousands of people who actually worked at McDonald's. Trump ducked the question and instead said, quote, "I think these people work hard, they're great," unquote. Really? If he really feels that way, why is he bashing Kamala Harris for working at McDonald's? You know, Trump has historically opposed minimum wage increases, and during his 2020 debate with President Biden said, quote, "How are you helping your small businesses when you're forcing wages? What's going to happen, and what's been proven to happen, is when you do that, these small businesses fire many of their employees," unquote. Before he launched his own wide array of failed businesses, Trump was born into a wealthy family and given his start with millions in loans backed by his father. Unlike Trump, Harris comes from a middle-class background and has backed economic policies meant to benefit employees in the service industry. She supports a minimum wage increase and eliminating taxes on tipped income. While Trump also supports eliminating taxes on tipped income, he also supports large tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy and increased tariffs that would increase taxes for the workers who were a part of his campaign photo op. So, yeah, they're sitting here trying to shift focus from this bullcrap that he did in Pennsylvania. And people, remember where this McDonald's is, because now you know the person that runs that shit is a Trump supporter, okay? Festerville, Pennsylvania, the McDonald's there. Stay the hell away from it. Okay, they're trying to shift focus away from that, what Trump did, and put it all on Kamala and that rally. And I think that's the reason why that's her story is what's taken longer and people are still yakking about it, because they don't want anyone to talk about this bullshit McDonald's stunt that he pulled here to try to say, I worked at McDonald's longer than Kamala did, you know, when he's got no evidence or any proof at all that he's presented to show that she never worked there, okay? Why would she lie about something like that, okay? There's a lot of politicians, and I mean a lot. Go talk to AOC. A lot of people work from the bottom, okay, because they probably were going to school and they needed a job to pay their fucking tuition, okay, to get to where they are today. You think people are just born to be a senator? That, you know, the minute they come out of the womb, you're a senator? You think that people just get to the top overnight? Well, maybe for Trump because he's got the money, but it doesn't work for everybody. A lot of these people are not wealthy when they start. Okay, they have to bust their ass doing the kind of black jobs that Trump talks about in order to get to where they are. And, you know, for people to think that, you know, that Trump, you know, when they're saying, oh, he's not racist and all that, okay, you know, I have to laugh at that, because you have to ignore years, over a decade worth of stuff that he said over that time period that shows that he is. You have to ignore all of it. Okay, you don't have to go back to the 1970s when he wouldn't rent his apartments out to black people. You can come even more recent than that. All right, God only knows the things that he said off camera to people that weren't recording the things that he said. But I can tell you the things that he's saying now, if he thinks it's okay to say that publicly, I hate to think what he said that wasn't on camera when he thought nobody was listening. Okay, because that guy's racist to the core. And we don't need that son of a bitch in the White House or anybody of his ilk that follows him, okay? And that includes these so-called Christian nuts here that were crying and moaning on Fox. I don't care if you're a Christian. You can label yourself a Christian and do some heinous fucking shit, all right? That doesn't mean that you walk around with a Snow White all the fucking time. Christianity has done a great deal of damage to the human race as a result of many, many, many thousands of years of fucking bullshit. All right, so don't tell me, you know, that you guys are the epitome of what's moral in this country, because you're not. You are not. Bill Clinton's more fucking moral than the most of you put together. But I'll tell you something right now. You know, he's desperate. He knows he's probably gonna lose this election, okay? The numbers are showing it. People don't want to believe it, okay, especially MAGA right now, but he's gonna probably lose this thing. It's a bet. All right? And you can always tell, you know, in election cycles, maybe months before the election, who's actually going to win this. And I could tell you right now, when Kamala stepped into the race, okay, it was over for Trump. They have been recoiling from that move the Democrats made since it started. They haven't recovered from that. I don't care what the numbers from the damn polls and all that shit are saying. Okay, that never reflects the real attitudes. Okay, the early votes coming in right now, they're already saying it's a blue wave. Okay, the early votes, most of them are all Democrats coming in right now. Okay, and so the energy out there to kick him to the curb is for real. America is sick to death of him because he won't shut up. He won't stay the hell out of our face. He's driving us crazy, all right? And he's saying, and right now he's saying a lot more hateful things than he usually does because it's getting closer to that day, all right? But we all know that it's not really the election that he's looking to. It's how is he going to twist the fucking votes so that way he can get his ass in there. He's looking to how am I going to cheat to get back into the White House, because he knows he can't win this with votes. He can't. He ain't got enough. He doesn't have enough demographics supporting him. All he's got is MAGA. That's it. All he's got is MAGA, and that's not enough. That is not enough to win this thing. It's not. Okay, for years we've already broke down the numbers of how many people in the Republican Party are actually MAGA, and it's less than a third. Okay, that's not enough of a base. You've got to have much more than that. You've got to reach out to those areas that he's been insulting all this time. Okay, and Christ, that sounds like everybody. You know, why even a handful from these other demographics are part of MAGA? I'll never understand. They, you know, they're all traitors to the people that they claim that they, you know, like the veterans, some of the veterans that are supporting him. Okay, traitors. Some of the women that are supporting him, traitors. Okay, because Trump isn't going to do anything for these folks. Nothing. They think he will, but he never. He when he was president for 4 years, he did nothing for these people. Never. What makes you think that's going to change now? You know, nothing is going to. There's no reason. He's only doing this because he wants to stay out of prison. That's it. He wants to stay the hell out of jail. Okay, and believe me, he's got a plan B in case he loses this election on how he's going to accomplish that. The election may not be as big a fucking issue to him as some people have been saying, you know, even me for that matter. Okay, he may have already got a plan B in place in case he does lose this thing, so that way, you know, he can still dodge the justice system. All right, remember, he's got a lot of people, a lot of loyalists who will fall on their sword for this jackass. All right, you got some of them sitting in prison right now that have fallen on their sword for him. Okay, so if you can get more people like that to, you know, to take the fall for him, that'll keep him out of prison. You know, it really will. So I feel like it's crazy that you know, MAGA still thinks that, you know, Trump has a chance. You know, really, I don't see it. I really don't see it at all. You know, and if they're getting all their proof or their reason to think that he'll win by watching Fox or even watching CNBC or MSN, you're not getting some real poll numbers here, people, because you got to remember, how do they get these numbers? How do they get these poll numbers? Okay, a lot of these places do not use the modern systems that we have today to get poll numbers, which means they're not really using the internet or, you know, trying to reach out to people that way. A lot of people don't have house phones. They don't need them because they got cell phones. How do they get those? How do they get those numbers? They're not listed in a phone book. Okay, there's a huge swath of American population that they don't have any contact with. They can't. So they can't. Their poll numbers don't work until they change the way they get these numbers. Until they figure out a way to actually poll people in the 21st century. These polls are never going to match up to the results. You watch what happens when the results come in November. Everyone's gonna say, how did they get it wrong? How did they get it wrong? It's because the polls are still using old methods of getting people to answer their questions. Okay, they're still using 20th century style of things since the 1950s to get polling data. They used to call you home houses and stuff like that. That's how they did it. But that's not the way we do things now anymore. People don't have to go and call numbers through the phone book. So, you know, it's sad that, you know, you got this group of people, MAGA, who simply, how can I say it? They just simply want to live in this fantasy world that, you know, that things are going their way. And they're going to hit the ground so damn hard that that you know, when the results come in and they find themselves backing a guy who's deliberately trying to stop counts or try to switch ballots or trying to do something to upset everything, they're going to look so cheap, they're going to look so stupid, okay, because they're going to go around with that same old they cheated that they've been using for all this time, right? The same old shit, because they thought, hey, it worked so well the first time, let's try it again, right? Okay, they're going to go hopping around about that instead of just saying, fuck him, let's find somebody else, okay? We're tired of just pretending that we're winning with this guy. Why don't we find somebody that we can win with, okay? So we don't have to pretend, that we don't have to make excuses for, that we don't have to cover his ass every time he slips up and says something dumb. Why can't they be smart enough to do that and just kick Trump to the curb and just say, we'll find somebody better. There's got to be somebody better than him, okay? Although I doubt they'll find it. But, you know, the logic is a person that's of a smart and logical frame of mind would have ditched Trump long ago, you know, because he lost the presidency, he lost the Senate, he lost all these fucking, you know, when he would campaign for people and stuff, you know, all he's been doing is losing. He's no good. He shouldn't even be the symbolic head of the Republican Party. He really doesn't deserve that position. But because he somehow manages to scare people whenever he stomps his foot around, okay, that makes him that way. But hell, anybody can do that. Jesus Christ. You know, anybody can threaten and do things, you know, get as long as he's got followers that are willing to risk their own freedom to go do something for him, okay? Doesn't make him, you know, a person of viability to lead a party. But yet somehow the people in MAGA there, they think that, you know, he's everything that they've been waiting for. A false idol. The hell, I mean, in your own book it tells you to beware of false prophets, right? False idols. What the hell do you think Trump's been trying to do? Walking around with his Trump Bible and all this crap and hugging the flag and trying to make you feel good. And all that comes out of that man's mouth is poison. Poison, poison, poison. That's all he talks about, making you feel like shit all the time. Why do you go to these rallies? I ask you. You know, why do you want to sit around doom and gloom all the fucking time? This man has no love for America. He doesn't sound like he cares whether America does better or not. He only cares if he does better. That's why he wants that job. Has nothing to do with you. Unfortunately, you people weren't convinced of that the first time he was president. All right? You weren't convinced of it then. I don't know. 1 million deaths didn't seem to faze you at all. So you people, and you talk about pro-life. Again, I question you. You know, I question your Christianity. I question your God. You know, to follow, you know, a madman like that. You know, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Hell, I wouldn't even call it that because he ain't as good looking as a sheep. But the fact is, you know, he ain't what you think he is. He is an antichrist. He is, you know, a wannabe Hitler. He is a danger to the free world because the United States represents the free world. And if we got a badass in the White House, that's not good for the rest of our allies. Our allies are not going to want to do business with us if we got a jackass like him back in office. Okay, that's just not going to happen. All right, so that's it for today. Hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So subscribe, comment, and share, and keep your ears open for health-related issues, and treat each other kindly out there as we move closer to Election Day. You might even be able to vote early. If you go down to the office and ask for a ballot or something, I don't know in your area if you can do it, but I think in most places by now you probably can. So if you want to go ahead and vote early and avoid the lines, go ahead and do it, you know. What the hell, right? I mean, it seems like a lot of people are already voting early. They just can't wait to get this shit over with, you know? And I don't think a lot of people are really going to feel comfortable about waiting until Election Day because we know there'll be shenanigans going on Election Day with, you know, MAGA people probably trying to stop people from voting or something. So you're better to just go and get it over with now, I think, and probably safer in the end. Okay, so I don't know. That's just me, my opinion. Okay, but I would imagine you'd probably want to. So I will talk to you later. So take care, everybody.